Welcome everyone to this Security AI Plus training. We're about to unpack what it really takes to build and secure modern AI systems. This is your guide to the global rulebook for AI.
So today, we're zeroing in on the external forces that are shaping every single AI product you build. We're talking about the laws, the regulations, and the global standards. And look, this isn't just about red tape. It's about understanding the real-world impact of compliance on every business decision you make with AI.
Because let's be real, AI brings incredible power, but with that power comes some pretty immense risk. So to operate safely and effectively, every single business needs a clear rulebook. The big question we're all asking is, what are the rules of the game?
Okay, let's get into it. Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to look at the hard law, the guiding principles, the standards you can get certified against, and the practical frameworks you can use day to day. By the end, you'll see exactly how all these pieces assemble into a complete AI governance puzzle.
First up, the heavyweight champion, the EU AI Act. This is the very first piece of our puzzle, and I want to be super clear. This is not a suggestion. It's a binding law that sets hard, non-negotiable boundaries for anyone operating in the European Union. And this is where the law gets really specific, especially for any AI system they classify as high risk. Think of things like your credit scoring models or your HR hiring tools. The EU AI Act mandates some pretty strict obligations for everything from your technical docs and event logging all the way to ensuring a human can always step in and take over. This isn't just a policy you write up, it fundamentally changes how you have to build your products from the ground up. And if you're kind of wondering just how seriously you should take this, well, the penalties are designed to get your attention big time. We're talking fines for the most serious violations that can reach 35 million euros or 7% of your global annual turnover. Suddenly, compliance isn't just some IT issue. It becomes a board-level conversation, and fast. And this right here brilliantly illustrates who needs to be at the table. A RACI chart like this breaks down who is R, responsible, A, accountable, C, consulted, and I, informed for every little task. Just notice how the CISO is responsible for the technical security controls, but it's the CIO who is ultimately accountable for the overall strategy. It just goes to show you this has to be a team sport. So if the EU AI Act is the what you must do, our next piece, the OECD AI principles, is really the why you should do it. You should think of this as the guiding philosophy, kind of the conscience for responsible AI.
So while these principles aren't technically laws, they carry an immense amount of weight. They really represent the global consensus on what good AI should look like. Human-centric, fair, and accountable. Regulators, auditors, and even your customers will reference these, so violating them is a major red flag, even if you aren't technically breaking a specific law.
And the crucial point here is that somebody has to make these high-level principles real. That responsibility, it falls heavily on the responsible AI practitioner. They're the ones accountable for translating these abstract concepts, like fairness, into actual company policies and measurable controls that developers can actually follow day to day. Okay, so we've got the law and we've got the philosophy. Now we need the assembly instructions, and that's where ISO standards come into play. You can think of ISO 42001 as the blueprint for building a formal, structured, and totally auditable AI governance program. For anyone familiar with ISO 27001 for information security, this is going to feel very familiar. ISO 42001 provides a repeatable AI management system, or AIMS. It gives you a structured way to manage all your policies, your processes, and your roles. This isn't just about good practice. It's how you prove to customers and regulators that you have your act together. And honestly, it's becoming a baseline requirement in a lot of contracts. And this chart shows us exactly who's driving that effort. The ISO AI lead implementer is front and center. They're the person who is accountable for designing the entire AI management system, for integrating it with existing security controls, and at the end of the day, for getting the organization ready for an official certification audit. And now for the final piece of our puzzle, the NIST AI Risk Management Framework. So if ISO gives you the big picture management system, NIST gives you the practical, day-to-day toolkit for actually managing risk. It's really the how-to guide for the folks in the trenches. The framework itself is beautifully simple and incredibly powerful. It's built around 4 functions: govern, map, measure, and manage. This creates a really actionable, repeatable process. You first establish the governance culture. Then you map the context and risks for a specific AI system. You measure those risks with real tests and metrics. And finally, you manage them by allocating resources to fix things. It's a continuous cycle.
This slide is so important because it really clarifies the relationship between two crucial roles. The responsible AI practitioner is hands-on with the models, driving those risk assessments and bias testing. That's the map and measure stuff. The ISO AI lead implementer, on the other hand, takes a step back and builds the overarching certified system that all those activities live within, making sure that what the practitioner is doing can satisfy an ISO audit.
Okay, so we have all our pieces on the table: the law, the principles, the standard, and the framework. Now let's see how they all click together to form a complete, coherent picture of AI governance.
And this right here is the synthesis. These four elements aren't separate tasks you have to worry about. They form a comprehensive governance, risk, and compliance, or GRC, spine for your entire organization. The EU AI Act tells you what you must do. The OECD principles define why you do it. ISO provides how you build the system, and NIST gives you the daily practice to make it all work.
And this final chart just brings it all together, showing the shared ownership that's required for this integrated GRC program. The CIO is ultimately accountable, sure, but you can see how the responsibilities for the central risk register, the control library, and the audit model are distributed across the CISO, the DPO, and our specialized AI roles. This is what a mature AI governance program looks like in the real world. So, that's the global rulebook for AI as it stands today. It's a combination of hard laws, guiding principles, structured standards, and practical frameworks. The rules are being written and finalized as we speak, so the only question left is your organization ready to play?